Please stand. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to come before you this evening. We ask that you guide the minds of our commissioners and our county judge and all the department heads present, that they would present what's best for Cameron County and best for the citizenry of Cameron County. We thank you, Lord, for the Winter Texans that have been here the last 4 months. We thank you for the participation of many of them in volunteer positions, and we ask you to multiply them to return next year. We also pray for those that were flooded out with a lot of rain last week. And we ask your heavenly mercy on these families, Lord, to get their life back together, to get their homes cleaned up, to get their yards cleaned up, and to take care of whatever family needs they have. And finally, we pray for the day's agenda. And I ask, Lord, that you would guide everything on that agenda that will satisfy and be right for Cameron County. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. I'd like to ask Lori Honeycutt to lead us in the pledges.
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Lori. And almost waited one more. A little bit late. Item 1, public comments by Pete Sepulveda, our county administrator.
Judge and Commissioners, just have 2 items. One is just to report to the court that we pretty much have completed draining out the subdivisions and areas that had been flooded last week, primarily around the FM 803, 510 area north of Los Fresnos. We've also contacted the drainage district in that area, and so next week we'll follow through with meetings to start addressing some of the problems that occurred this past week, and see if we can fix the problem, identify the problem, and then come up with a solution to solve that problem. But we've started the dialogue with the drainage district. Also in the Olmito area, one of the main improvements that needs to occur there is the laying of a pipe under the railroad track. We had been waiting on Union Pacific because we need a permit from them. So I received numerous emails from them today, and we've started that process. And as soon as we can get that permit, we've already instructed our Public Works Director to begin the construction of that pipe. The thing that I want to mention in the balcony is Gail Latham. She's with the Texas Association of Counties. And the last 2 days, Gail and a team of IT directors from different counties from throughout the state have been conducting an assessment of our computer center. They've met with most of the department heads and other employees. The group of IT directors met about a day and a half. They spent about a day and a half with our computer center employees. And so hopefully in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we will get the report and recommendations from Gail, and then the IT committee can come before the court and present that plan, and hopefully get some direction from the court to start implementing that plan. That was it. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Pete. Any other public comment? Hearing none and sensing none. Presentation items. Item number 2, presentation of a check by the Texas Association of Counties. Pete? That's why I asked you to lead us in the pledge.
We're starting off right. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to be here with you today. I have had the privilege of serving Texas counties for about the last 18 years, but I've never had the opportunity to do something like this before. Counties are the hardest working branch of the government. They don't always get credit for that. We are the closest to the citizens. We are the most responsive. We are the most accountable. But we face lots of challenges. And some of the challenges that we have faced have come through legislation, through changing liabilities, lots of things that have occurred over the years. And so what I get to do today is bring you back some money. One of the challenges that counties faced in the 70s and in the 80s through legislation changing, counties were required to provide workers' comp coverage to their employees, and they were also, because of changing liability laws, had to provide liability coverages. And there wasn't any commercial market for anything like that. So counties got together, and a lot of the leadership came from Cameron County. And they said, you know, we're going to have to respond to this, and if we're smart, and if we're careful and fiscally responsible, we can do this, and we can do this well, and that is exactly what has happened. And this year, we are able to return back to Texas County $6 million. Cameron County's portion of that is $73,000. And so I wanted to bring that to y'all and to tell you again how much we appreciate you, we appreciate your participation and everything that you do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura. You want to give that to Pete or to Mark, or you already gave it to him? Mark is floating around there. All right, well, thank you very much. Sure. Commissioner Gatsa has a question for you, Lori.
Lori, could you enlighten us as to why you're returning $73,000? Because I would not want our viewing public and those here to think that we're giving you more than we need to.
No.
Okay.
No. The way that this has worked, it's because of investment income. It's because of good management. It was based on three different things. It was based on loyalty and longevity with the program, which Cameron County has participated for many years. It was also based on good loss history. And because y'all have controlled your losses, y'all have done such a tremendous job. Y'all have great management in place. You have great practices, good policies. The county works together very well. And because of this, you are saving money.
That's all I wanted to
That's it.
Thank you.
In other words, we're good.
You are good. You are good, yes.
Thank you.
That's right.
Lori, you can come say the pledge next week if you'd like and bring another check or something.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to acknowledge her presentation of the check? Moved by Commissioner Tamayo, second by Commissioner Gatsa. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Item 3, presentation and update on the second call of the Border Colonia Access Program.
Judge, Commissioners, you should have a spreadsheet in your packet for the second call of the Border Colonia Access Program. First two projects that are listed there, the project in Encantada and Tierra Bonita 1 and 2 have been completed. Third project listed is Lozano. That's a small project that we have not begun yet, but we anticipate will take about 90 days to complete. The next project, Lago, same thing. It's a small project. We have not begun yet, and we anticipate 90 days for completion. Esperanza Unit 1 and 2, that project has been completed. Arroyo Colorado Estates, as of today, we're about 50% complete on that project. Next project, Juarez, that project is 100% complete. The project in Galpin subdivision, we have not begun, and that's also a small project. Anticipate taking 60 days to complete. The project in Olmito, as of today, is about 10% complete, and as I mentioned earlier, one of the biggest drainage improvements in that project will be the laying of the pipe under the railroad tracks to go connecting to the Texas Department of Transportation's drainage system. So anticipate it's going to take us about 30 to 45 days to get the permit from Union Pacific, but as soon as we do, we will go ahead and start construction on the laying of the pipe. The next subdivision, Rutherford Harding, that's a pretty big project. We're anticipating about 180 days. What we plan on doing, once we get closer to completing Arroyo Colorado Estates, we're going to regroup, get with our Public Works Director, get with our engineering department, and see if we can temporarily beef up the crews that we have so that we can get the smaller projects completed a lot faster, and then going to the last big project, which is Rutherford Harding. So the date that you've seen there, that we have a starting date, we're hoping to be able to start a lot sooner than what we anticipate. For now, that's the date that we're using, but that's a plan. Again, this project, we get reimbursed for our materials, equipment, and personnel from the Texas Department of Transportation. Project that's not listed in the spreadsheet because it's a project that still is under the first call of the Colonia project is the third phase of the Cameron Park improvements. PUB is about 95-96% complete with their work. We've ordered our materials, and we have started our right-of-way preparation on the roads that we're gonna do, so that project is about 5% complete. As soon as we get the materials, the project is gonna go a lot faster. So, hopefully the next time that we come before you, we have had completed at least another 2 or 3 projects and just left the big projects to be working on.
Pete, at this time, what is the turnaround timeline for reimbursement? I know we get reimbursed, but how long is it?
From the time we submit it, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks. Depending on the size of the project, our smaller projects, we can probably get reimbursed within a 10-day period. The larger projects, involves a lot more paperwork. It might take 2 to 3 weeks, but TxDOT's been pretty consistent. They've been pretty good about reimbursing the county on a timely basis.
Pete, on the reimbursements, once we get the money in, I know it goes into the county, is that getting credited back to the Public Works Department on a timely manner?
Yes, both on our personnel and on our materials.
Okay.
Mr. Sepulveda, in your categories there's one number that I don't see that I would like for you to include for the next report, not for this one. But we have the original estimated cost of construction, and then we have the eligible project cost and maximum road cost and estimated drainage cost. I would like to see on completed projects, total cost billed versus original estimated costs, and to see where we're at and where we can allocate funds if we have left over, or where we can put money if we need to beef up another project.
We can do that, and that'll give you an idea of how much funding you have available to reprogram into other areas.
Okay.
We'll do that.
I think that has come up at the meetings, but not in the report.
Right.
We can do it.
But it's just another column on your spreadsheet.
Yeah, we'll just add another column.
I don't have any more.
Any further comments?
Move to acknowledge.
Need a motion to acknowledge report by Mr. Sepulveda, by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Tamayo. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 4, presentation regarding the Brownsville Urban Systems Report on fiscal year 2006 services provided the Cameron Park area and proposed service expansion and improvements.
Honorable Judge, Commissioners, my name is Tom Logan. I'm the transit planner for the Brownsville Urban System, and here with me is Carlos Galastra. He's our JAR coordinator, and also Tom Reyna with the Lower Rio Grande Development Council. He's the assistant director for Rio Transit.
I want to ask, and this is not, who controls when this thing comes down? Just out of curiosity. Marcelino? I mean, who's flipped the switch? You flipped the switch? Okay.
She has the power.
Okay.
The
I
power
just wanted to
to
know who does that. Okay, thank you. In case, somebody needs to do one of these days. You're not here?
This is what you call off-the-wall GT, right here. Gifted and talented.
Okay.
That's a compliment.
Okay.
Today, we want to take the opportunity to give you a report on public transportation services provided to Cameron Park Colonia and proposed service expansion and improvements to colonias in Cameron County.
Tom, I want to point out for you and people in the audience, and certainly the ones watching TV, that we're not looking up there because we have it on our monitor here in front of us, so we're not being impolite. We're just looking at our monitor here. It's easier for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Our partnership history, Cameron Park Colonia Service, we requested the assistance from the county in 2005 to continue to provide public transportation to the Cameron Park Colonia when we were hitting a shortage of funding from the state level, and we came to the county requesting additional service to provide the same level of service. We also, in 2006, we requested your assistance to file a grant application for job access and reverse commute grant, and I'll have Carlos give us a description of what's Job Access and Reverse Commute.
Good afternoon, Commission. What is JARC? JARC are the acronyms, as Mr. Logan stated, is Job Access Reverse Commute. It stands for Public Transportation, Project-Related Development and Maintenance Transportation Services designed to transport welfare recipients and eligible low-income individuals from the colonias to and from jobs, training, education, and daycare services. Importance and benefits of our partnership is the improvement of transit efficiency or increased ridership, the improvement of mobility for low-income population, the improvement of access to local employment centers. JARC is also going to expand the availability of employment-related transportations. And in regards to that, JARC is also going to help out in the local economic development and expand economic opportunities. Thank you.
The services provided to Cameron Park last year were provided via 3 routes. We have Route 3, Rockwell, providing a direct link from downtown Brownsville to the Northside Transfer Station. And from there, Route 20 and 23 provided direct service to Cameron Park Colonia right here. The benefits received by the residents of the Cameron Park Colonia were the following. They continue to have access to downtown Brownsville and the rest of the routes within our network, and they gain direct access to the Sunrise Mall area for their shopping, entertainment, employment, and also they gain access to the medical facilities along the frontage road here on Alton Glore and the frontage road. Now they don't have to go direct all the way downtown to transfer over to another bus to reach those destinations. They can board the bus here and have direct access to those locations. The results of that service are the following. From February 2006, when we initiated this service, through January 2007, Route 3 transported 269,000 passengers. Out of those, it is estimated that Cameron Park residents generated 29,634 passenger rides. Route 20 transported 34,526. Out of those, 23,823 were generated by the residents of Cameron Park. Route 23 generated 36,026 rides. Out of those, 6,124 were generated by Cameron Park residents. The total ridership for that period of time was 339,952. Cameron Park residents generated 59,581 passenger rides, 18% of the total. The cost and the funding is the following. Our cost per passenger is $1.56 based on our fiscal year 2006 operating budget. The total passengers generated by that service was 59,581 for a total cost of $92,946. The funding sources are the following. Cameron County contributed $21,177. The City of Brownsville contributed $25,296. The Federal Transit Administration contributed $46,473 for a total of $92,946. Cameron County's subsidy per passenger was 36 cents. For every dollar that Cameron County contributed to public transportation, it subsidized 2.8 passengers. Statistical information in Cameron County. The county population was 378,311. Populations of the colonias in Cameron County is 47,606. Number of colonias in Cameron County is 178. Colonias to be served with the new service and added service are 61. And the population to be served within the colonias is estimated at 14,526. The service and expansion and improvement that we're recommending is as follows. Bus will initiate Route 30 southeast And the Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Council, Rio Transit, in coordination with BUS, will start Route 3 Military Highway. Route 30 Southeast. This route will start the Mari Lucio Clinic on 700 Jose Colunga, and it will go to California Road, take Dakota Road to Duckberry to Southmost, making direct connection with our two existing fixed routes, 6 and 8. And from there, it will continue on Southmost all the way to Arkansas, providing service to Valle Escondido residents. And then it will continue north on Brownie Road. It will provide direct service to the Cameron County Community Center and the Pete Benavides Park. It will continue on to Boca Chica to Indiana, making direct connection with Route 9 Austin Road. And then it's going to go south on Indiana to Duckberry to Dakota, and back to the launching pad. The service that Route 30 will provide is weekdays and Saturdays, 6 hours of revenue service per day, starting at 6:30 through 9:30 a.m., then from 4:30 p.m. through 7:30 p.m. The cost for this service is estimated at the following: 208.5 hours per year times $47 cost per hour equals to $94,400. That's the cost for the entire service.
When you go back to that previous slide, how long does it take one bus to make the whole?
It's a 1 hour headway. A complete trip will be 1 hour.
So, are you anticipating 3 trips per scheduled service hours?
3 trips in the morning and 3 trips in the afternoon, yes. Route 30 Southeast budget is the following. Cameron County, we're requesting the contribution of $29,954. Cameron Works Inc., $17,246. The JARC grant, $47,200, for a total of $94,400. Route 3 Military Highway. At this point, I'm going to ask Tom Reyna to give us a brief description of the proposed services.
Good afternoon, Judge, Commissioners. Thank you on behalf of the Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Council, I'd like to thank you for allowing us to address the court. What we're proposing to do is to coordinate service of the Brownsville urban systems with restructuring of our current Rio Transit rural system, which you did all the way from Weslaco Military Highway in the Relambago area all the way into Brownsville. What we're proposing to do is to restructure that route into 2 routes. Route 2, restructure that. We will start off in the La Feria area. In La Feria, come down to Blue Town, come back all the Military Highway, hit La Paloma, and in La Paloma go all the way on 732 into San Benito, Harlingen area to do the medical facilities and the college. Come back out, make connection with the new Rio Transit Route 3 there in La Paloma, and head to Olmito, and then from Olmito come back all the way to Brownsville Central Station or Market Square. We will be able to connect with either Brownsville Urban Systems, any of the routes, or our Rio Transit Route 4, which runs from Market Square all the way into Port Isabel. The proposed service that we're doing is to propose 6 hours of service, 2 hours, the 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the afternoon, which will be a headway, a total of about an hour and a half per route. It's going to be weekly service from Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 9:15, which would be the first section, and then the afternoon section would be from 4 p.m. to 7:15. The cost for it is we're going to be proposed 1,500 hours of service at $47 per hour, which comes out to $73,320. The budget that we're asking is, again, Cameron County for $29,954. Cameron Works was $6,706, and with the JARC grant, $36,660, which comes out to a total of $73,320.
When you mention that they will you take a route and go into the medical facilities,
Yes, ma'am.
are you talking about, what specifically are you referring to? What medical facilities?
Well, we will be able to...
Both hospitals?
Yes,
or-
ma'am, both hospitals, all of the Heart Hospital there on Hain Drive, all of Ed Carey Drive, which will go on the loop all the way to TSTC and to the airport, and then come back around. We'll be able to hit the Golden Palms, Su Clinica, UT Health and Science Center there on Treasure Hills Boulevard, and come right back out.
Have you done any studies on potential ridership out there, or?
Yes, sir. We currently had service, which was Route 3, which we would pick up in a regular route, which we only provided 3 days of service, was 16 to 25 people a day out in those areas. But the need it's a great need for those colonias out there that do want to come into Brownsville to obtain jobs and to job training. So we're willing, with our partnership, we're foreseeing that we will have a great amount of ridership, especially for those areas that were left out without any transportation, some of the colonia areas in that area.
Are you pretty consistent, and I was at another meeting where there were some concerns about lack of consistency as to when the passengers would be picked up?
Right, that was through our rural metro, which unforeseen circumstances do happen with traffic and so forth. But Rural Transit is a totally different system, which basically runs in the rural area, so we're much more consistent in that area than with the other.
I have 3 questions. The $47 per hour that you're charging, how is that, what is factored into that per hour charge?
Do you want to cover that? It's based on our total operating cost for the fiscal year minus the revenue, and we get our operating costs.
Okay.
Based on the amount of hours that we service throughout the fiscal year.
The operating costs, though, include fixed costs, though, don't they? Right?
Yes.
So you're going to have those fixed costs whether you're providing a service to us or not, right? And so you're charging the county and the grant and Cameron Works a part of that fixed cost that you all would have to incur whether you provided that service or not, right?
Only if we are running that route at the time.
Well, if it's a fixed cost, you're going to have that cost regardless.
Right, it's, the fixed cost is for directly that route itself, for those routes itself. If we don't run the route, we don't incur.
You don't incur that, well, then it's not a fixed cost, it's a variable cost.
Right.
So then so I'm talking about fixed costs, stuff like maybe the cost of the bus, the depreciation on the bus or things of that nature.
Commissioner, I'm sorry, Judge.
I know, habits hard to break.
The $47 was generated back in 2005 when we made the proposed grant application, and that's based on new service, which does not account for the fixed.
Okay, well, that's all I was asking. I wanted to make sure
Yes,
that was
no.
clear. Okay, so then the $47 is just a variable cost.
Correct, based on new service.
All right. Do you all charge the customer X amount of dollars?
Yes,
You do, right?
Right.
And the $94,000 that are on one of these budgets, is that factored in here already?
Already, since we already deducted the total revenues that came in.
So you did. So then, to answer Commissioner Tamayo's comment, you already have a projection of what you think the revenue is going to be based on the passengers, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay, that's all I have. Any other comments, questions? Norma?
I apologize for being late, but I had 2 meetings at the same time, so I'm sorry. Then we are looking for your support and endorsement. When we approached you, when we approached this Commissioner's Court when we applied for this, before applying for this grant, we were looking to join into a partnership where we could start providing a service that we are getting more and more requests on a daily basis to provide. I think this is an excellent way for us to show our representatives and our legislative officials and congressional officials that we're working together in partnership to leverage those federal dollars down to assist the residents of our community. So total commitment that we're requesting for the next fiscal period, from the date that these services are supposed to be starting, is the total amount of $83,148 that we will be requesting. When we received support last time, this court gave us a letter of support for $59,000. So we will be coming back to you with a grant agreement, so that if we can enter into that agreement, but we want to give you this presentation.
The dates that you have on the Route 30, that would go from April 2nd of '07 through April 1st of '08? Is this for a 1 year?
Yes, it's a
Okay.
12-month period.
So
it'll
the
be
same thing with the May 7th of '07, go to May 6th of '08?
Right, it would be
Okay.
prorated. And of course, the one that's ongoing, that one was paid through the end of February, the end of January. January.
Okay, so then, where's our, Javier? Javier Villarreal? So, you're gonna have to find, I guess, new monies to finish out this fiscal year for these new routes?
It's already there. The only thing is, I'm assuming, even though that they're starting in April and May, that the requirement is the 30,000, or is it just based on our fiscal year from May through September, and then in October? You're basing it on a grant cycle, I imagine.
Right.
So it's for the full year, or is it based on
we-
date, September 1st, or?
We would bill you as you would want us to be, on a monthly basis. That is something for us to sit down and figure out how you want us to invoice you.
Okay.
But it's for 12 months.
I guess my question is, how, if this is a brand-new program, right?
Actually, this was
How are they
addressed-
budgeted?
It was addressed last year in April. They made two presentations actually last year, maybe three. For the first one regarding the Cameron Park, and then they came back in April and requested the support for the expanded service. And at that time, there was the letter of support that was issued, and then the following week, they came back because the original amount requested was about $120,000 or something like that, and then it was reduced to $60,000, and then the court took action because they had anticipated it starting last fiscal year, so the court had taken action and was going to allocate lapse salaries to initiate it last year, but it's for whatever reason, it didn't start, it wasn't approved or what have you, but the court had agreed to fund this program, but for whatever reason, it's barely getting
Well, I
funded
guess
right
my
now.
question is, excluding the lapse salary issue,
It's in
have
the
these
budget right
items
now.
been, you have a line item where they've already been budgeted?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I want to know. All right. Any other comments? Norma, continue?
Thank you.
Is that it? That it? Okay, thank you very much. Do I hear a motion to acknowledge presentation by the Brazel Urban System? Moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Wood. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. On the consent part of the agenda, are there any items, I know I've got a couple, I'm sure Commissioner Wood does. Are there any items any member of the court would like to take out from the consent and discuss separately? Item 16 to be pulled out.
Judge, over here, item 5, it can be approved, but there's some wording missing from the amendment. It has to be approved subject to that wording being supplied by TechDOT.
We'll just take that out separately. Item 5.
Okay.
So far, item 5. Item 16, I'd like to see item 11 pulled out.
What number was that?
Item 11.
6.
11? You want 6?
6. Item 6. Item 11. Item 16. Item 20. All the travel items all right? Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the consent items with the exceptions of item 5, 6, 11, 16, and 20 that we will discuss in open session?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Tamayo. Do I have a second by Commissioner Wood? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Travel items, item 22A through 22J. Do I have any one that needs to be pulled out or discussed separately? Hearing none, do I hear a motion for the travel items? Moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Tamayo to approve travel items 22A through 22J. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. with permission of the court, I'd like to take two items out of order before we go into executive session. Item 28, consideration and authorization to request an additional registration and title system workstation from the Texas Department of Transportation for the new San Benito Annex Building and an additional workstation for the new Harlingen Annex Building drive-up window, and provide one additional person to service that window. That's Mr. Tony Seguida's item. And the reason we're pulling that out, he needs to go to another meeting in about 20 minutes, so.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. I placed this item on the agenda since we're building two brand-new buildings, one in Harlingen, one in San Benito. I'll take the San Benito first. We have 5 employees, but we only have 4 workstations that do title transactions. I would like to add one more to have all 5 employees take care of our customers. And the Harlingen office, we're adding 2 new drive-up windows in the Harlingen brand-new building. Right now, the existing Harlingen office has 1 drive-up window, and we anticipate a lot of traffic that's going to be used in the new drive-up windows. That I'm hoping this would alleviate the congestion inside the office. But in doing so, in order to have or operate 2 additional windows, we would need an additional person. We anticipate that the building should be in operation by June 1st. So we're talking about 4 months having an employee on the payroll.
So under Harlingen, Tony, did I understand correctly, you'll be adding 1 more?
Yes, ma'am, for the new drive-up windows. And we've come up with some charts and diagrams. Rick, you want to give each commissioner made some charts as to the increase of traffic in the Harlingen office compared to the closest one, which would be San Benito. This is just for your information as to the amount of traffic that we have in the Harlingen office. As you can see, the traffic, the number of transactions, the number of dollars have increased from one year to the next.
Tony, how many people did we give you when you started doing the Red River collections there for a while for us?
We had been, to answer your question, 3. 3, yes, sir. Of course, before that, I had been before the court 5 different times asking for additional people for the Harlingen office because of the increase in traffic every year. And that was one of the reasons that we were having problems with the outer one-person offices, is that when they were absent, we had to shut them down. Since we added these 3 additional people, since then, we haven't had that problem.
Right. So we have not had any complaints.
We haven't had any complaints. I hope you haven't had any complaints, because since those people came aboard, it was my word to you, Commissioners, especially Mr. Mayo, that those offices would be open 5 days a week. And I've kept my word.
I was going to tell you, Tony, that, number one, thank you, because I was getting calls almost, and you knew
I know
that,
you were,
because then you would get my calls.
And I was too.
Present.
Yes.
But after we added those 3, you did take care of that area.
Yes, ma'am.
Where we had such a tremendous problem. The other thing I want to tell you is that I think you're going to be awfully busy on that new building off of.
We're hoping.
Because people are calling, asking, when is that building going to be finished?
Right.
And I see a lot of.
We're hoping that our drive-up windows will be of use our taxpayers will take full use of our drive-up windows because, in the Harlingen office, a lot of people see and you've seen it, Mr. Tamayo, the traffic all the way down to along the alley, and sometimes it blocks the streets and businesses. So when people see all that traffic, that long line, they come inside instead of staying outside. So, and it's a big problem in a lot of congestion inside the office. I think with these two additional windows that we're adding, drive-up windows, it should eliminate the congestion inside the office.
Any other comments?
I feel pretty confident you're going to need both of those driving up windows.
Have you identified a funding source for this, Tony?
No, we haven't. When I put this on the agenda, I went up to look for our budget officer. He was out, and I made contact with Mr. Pete Sepulveda, and we placed the item on the agenda without Mr. Villarreal signing off. We anticipate for 4 months, well, at least we're anticipating for 4 months, but it's going to cost about $13,000 for 4 months. If the office is not finished on time, of course, we're not going to hire that person until that office is fully operational. And to answer your question, no.
Tony, why can't you, even when you move into the new office, you can't operate it with the existing employees that you have and then add the new employee during the budgetary cycle?
Well, the problem is that as it is, we're going to be shorthanded, Judge. We are going to be shorthanded, and I cannot anticipate an employee from either La Feria or Rio Hondo being absent. If they call in sick on a Monday or any day of the week, my only resource is getting a person from the Harlingen office, because that's where we use the employees to take care of the absent. But I would like to have that office fully operational come June 1st or whenever we do open.
Okay. Anybody have any ideas?
I don't have a problem with it if you can identify a funding source for us.
I can get together with Mr. Villarreal and come back.
Why don't we do that? Let me hear a motion to approve his request, and then have him work with Javier and with either Javier or with Pete, and I guess just let us know how you intend to fund it. I guess Javier's standing up, so.
Just for a clarification, so I know where to look. A few weeks back, there was a draft policy in reference to lab salaries, and one of the items within there was not to use lab salaries in order to increase the budget that would impact the next fiscal year. Right. Is that off the table, or is it on the table, since the policy?
Well, I mean, that's something, here we go again.
It's on the table.
It's on, obviously it's here, so it's on the table. But here we go again, that we're trying to develop a policy to keep, from exercising and utilizing lab salary. It's going to have, an impact. But at the same time, as we build these buildings, I've kind of maintained that building a building is the easy part. It's the maintenance and operation of that building, and maintenance operation includes people, it includes personnel. So we've got a facility that we're building, and now we have to fund it. We have to put the people in there, or else we're going to have an empty building or an empty slot or whatever it is, and it won't allow him to do his job properly. And then when that happens, she gets phone calls, and then she calls him, and he calls me, and so it's like I call her, and so she calls me. So I'll tell you what, I don't know if that's off the table as far as that goes, because we haven't even adopted the policy yet, and we're already violating it, so to speak. So find it someplace else. Okay?
And I want to clarify something for Javier. He was not on spring break when he was out last week. He was sick.
Yeah. No, well, he was on spring break. He doesn't have to be sick during spring break, but...
he was sick.
But all right. you know, why don't we do it like that? Let's approve that, subject to you finding monies outside of the lapsed salary area, okay? Unless Tony has lapsed salaries in his office, and then see if it's there. But again, we are developing a policy in regards to that. I think that we need to try to stick to that policy as best we can. All right?
So Tony, move fast.
That was moved by Commissioner Garza.
Right.
Second by Commissioner Wood to say yeah to everything, and then have Javier try to find the money along with Tony where we can get this to fund the rest of the year, and also factor in that we're going to need twice that amount in the upcoming year,
And,
the budget year. And I'm asking you to cut 5% off your budget, so I don't know how you're going to do that.
We'll see.
Okay.
bringing it back to us for approval.
Yeah.
At the next meeting.
Next week.
Yes.
All right? All right. Thanks,
Thanks,
Tony.
Judge. Thanks, Commissioner.
That was moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Wood. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 33, consideration approval of request to utilize the Commissioner's courtroom at the Dancy Building for the mayoral candidate forum. I think Father Matthew's here to address that, and an entourage of people.
Your Honor and Commissioners, thank you for allowing us to come before you this evening. My name is Armand Matthew. I'm a member of the Missionary Oblate Fathers. I'm on the staff of the University Center for Civic Engagement. I'm here with my two colleagues, Dr. Joseph Zavaleta, the director of the center, and Ms. Diana Arredondo, office manager, who does all our work. I'm here to present a petition on behalf of literally all the children in all of the schools of Brownsville, public and private. And that petition is that they would be allowed to use this courtroom for a mayoral candidates forum that they are planning for Wednesday, April the 25th. And the reason they want to do that, and the reason why we support them so thoroughly, is that it's probably escapes the attention of people my age and your age, how important it will be for them to be represented by a panel of their peers to hold forth in this hallowed place, calling mayoral candidates to respond to their questions while they want to be mayor. I think it's easy for us to forget the educational value of that for them and the profound emotional experience it will be for all of them. And that's why we're here to present that petition.
Father, any particular reason the Dancy Building was chosen, or just because of the amenities and
Well, yes, the reason is
architecture?
one I just mentioned, educational value for them. And, you know, it's maybe anticipating a question. Kids voting is nonpartisan, non-political, non-sectarian. It has nothing to do with anything except an educational program for kids. And so they want it here, and we support them in that petition because of the reverence of this place, and because of the history here, and because they will be able to talk about that, and because they will be able to tell their peers about their experience holding a candidates forum, mayoral candidates forum, in the courtroom of the Dancy Building. I think we need to keep that in mind, how important it is for them to have this experience.
Well, you know, we talk about voter apathy every election, and I can't think of a finer tool or mechanism to get young people involved in the voting process and just the excitement of it. How many people do you anticipate attending the forum?
Well, we're going to invite all the youngsters, and they'll be represented by, obviously, we can't put 50,000 kids in this courtroom. It'll be a little bit crowded.
Are they going to be chaperoned? Will there be adults here?
Yes, there'll be parents. Younger children will have to be accompanied by their parents, and we will all be here, of course, with the panel, with their teachers, I'm sure. It will be an experience for all of them, and even for the parents. You know, it's easy for us to forget how important that would be for them.
Do you have something planned and I support this, I truly do. I think it's, the educational impact is tremendous. But I would certainly hope that there is a follow-up afterwards, whether it's with the teachers, or I don't know if you have a plan, an implementation plan, after it occurs, that there be some debriefing with the kids, or to really make an impact. I think you would need that. And
At the event itself or afterwards?
afterwards, in their respective places, whether, I take it, if I'm understanding you correctly, there's going to be kids here from different schools?
Oh, yes.
Okay, are those schools going to follow up with some type of plan to make sure that they get the full impact of what happened?
Well,
And also the history of this beautiful building, because that's why I will support it, so they will truly understand that there's a lot of history here. It's a very historical place. So maybe the people on the staff, do you know if anything like that is planned?
We'll actually give the students a brief history about the building before they come. They can look at certain architecture and understand all of that. It's very important for them to also refresh our community and understand why Brownsville is so important. And by having the actual event here versus at a school, it gives the students the opportunity to come to a building that I think was higher. And they also have no history for their parents. They're completely not from Brownsville. And it was, they teach them to appreciate our city, appreciate our history, and learn about it.
In addition,
because of our Fifth Club, the students go back and they share this information with the teachers reinforcing the classroom direction.
and if I understand it correctly.
That wasn't the whole point I was making, that I think it's extremely significant, and they'll get a lot from it, even if that didn't happen, but they definitely, hopefully, will have some type of debriefing the following day or whenever.
And I also think that this would contribute immensely to the school district here in Brownsville. I understand holds actual voting, that the students actually vote on ballots shortly before the normal election day, and this type of forum would provide them with a lot of insight as to who they particularly would want to vote for, and it sometimes actually mirrors what happens in the regular election, and that's a good thing, I think, getting them involved. And I believe this facility would provide a good venue for it. If you have no more than 4 candidates or 5 candidates or however many, as long as you don't exceed the number of seats up here, and then the podium, the way it's set up and the way it's structured, should work real well for the forum to be held here.
We've put together a little brochure, a little of one page, a little bit on the Dancy building that we've been distributing as we've hosted tours. So if you'd like, get with our office, and maybe we can give you some ahead of time. Let us know how many you need, or maybe give you one, y'all can replicate it for us at your media center. And just call my office and talk to Nina, and she's the one that does that. And so we'll give you that, pass out to the kids and the adults too. Before they get here, they know a little bit. All right. Do I hear a motion to approve? Any further comments? Commissioner Gatsa?
How will this impact 32?
Well, we have a draft policy I guess that would outline the use of all county facilities. But there's also language in there that would be up to the discretion of the court or the county administrator, to bring it before us so we can vote on it. But at least that policy is going to give us some guidelines. And we haven't adopted it yet, so it's kind of before the...
That's what I was going to say.
He's going to be grandfathered in, so to speak.
And we'll get it behind us.
Okay.
Make a motion.
So I hear a motion by Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner Tamayo, to approve the request to utilize the Commissioner's courtroom at the Dancy Building for the candidate on April the 25th, 2007. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Thank you all very much for being here.
Good luck.
Thank you all very much, and I'm sure we can express the appreciation of all the kids. They're going to be very excited. Thank you.
I'm going to take, I see Ms. Knapp over there with her kids, and I know they're getting a little bit restless. we're going to end hungry. I'd like to take one more item out of the consent part for discussion, then we'll go into executive session. Item 16, consideration authorization to award bids, RFPs, RFQs for the following. A, autos, quantity 3 with trade-in, bid number 07021 to Rodriguez Ford. I think there's several questions on that. Commissioner Wood, you want to take it, or want me to take it?
I'll be glad to. I know our purchasing directors here, if we need any clarification on anything. Basically, when we go out for bids, it's out for bids, and we normally, by statute, are required to take the lowest bid. If there's anything that someone wants to put into a bid prior to it going out, then that's when the package is developed in order to accommodate someone's needs or someone's requests specifically. However, when it does go out for bids, and we got bids from two reputable, responsible companies, I feel like we should be taking the low bid. I'm in a little bit of a quandary why we would even be suggesting that we not take the low bid, because the only time that we are really allowed to do that by statute would be if the low bid is within 3% of or if the second lowest bid is within 3% of the low bid, and the second lowest bid is a local, meaning inside the county, vendor. So we don't have that situation here. What we have is a county vendor with the lowest bid, and I don't see any reason not to accept the low bid from the lowest bidder.
Mike.
In this case, is Tippitech Chevrolet.
Mike. Yeah, but hold on, Mike, question. Did the bid from Tippitech meet all the bid specs?
Before I answer that question, the county auditor just approached me and he said that he and as well as us, he met with the DA. They'd like to table this item.
Okay, hold on. But I'm just asking is...
To answer your question,
My
yes,
question
it
is, did Tippitech meet...
Yes, it did.
All bid specs?
Yes, it did.
Okay. Now they can approach whomever.
Did you have a specific question, Judge, about the bids?
The question was, did the low bid meet all bid specs as we threw them out there?
Yeah, we weren't sure. The answer to the question is the same as Mr. Forbes repeated to you, was yes. But when we went and test drove both vehicles, we test drove the Ford Focus and we also test drove a Cobalt. It appeared that the Focus was roomier, had more compartment space. And so we're more interested in, we thought we were going to be stuck with a smaller vehicle, but the Focus seemed to have more space, and so we're interested in having that added as either a bid spec or since the difference in bids was, I think, $168, we're interested in, just spending the extra $168 for the added cab space.
Well, the problem we run into by state law is the low bid meets the bid specs, and if there were some issues about roominess or any other personal preferences, that should have been taken care of prior to going out for bid, and the specs should have been developed according to that measurement.
And that's what was explained to me by the auditor. That's why we tabled the item.
Well, we're not going to table it, I don't think. We've got bids that have been opened. It's difficult to table it and go out again for bids. I personally think we need to act on the low bid.
All right. David?
Motion to table.
I moved to award the bid to Tippitech Chevrolet.
Okay. Second. Moved by Commissioner Gatsa to award the bid to the low bid of Tippitech. Do I have a second? By Commissioner Wood. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Let me take the supplemental agenda. There was just a consent item. Consideration approval of the interlocal agreement between Cameron County and the City of Primera. Do I hear a motion to approve that consent item?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Tamayo. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Do I hear a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Tamayo, second by Commissioner Gatsa to go into executive session. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. The discussion will be as follows. Item 23A, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel concerning management and purchase issues with the International Bridge System on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with this chapter pursuant to Code Section 551.0712. Item B, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel concerning claim of Olga Ortega for discussion of claim pursuant to VTCA Code Section 551.0711A and 2. Item C, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel on potential litigation concerning the Commissioners Court Civil Legal Division and for authority to represent the county and Commissioners Court in such litigation pursuant to Code Section 551.0711A. Item D, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel concerning settlement with Mutual of Omaha pursuant to Code Section 551.0711B. Item E, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel concerning the review of appeal and consideration of payment of medical claim under the Health and Safety Plan on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct, the State Bar of Texas, clearly conflicts with this chapter pursuant to Code Section 551.0712. Item F, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel concerning Jose Luis Loredo Jr. versus Cameron County, Civil Action Number B-05-272 for discussion on pending medical claim of the Texas Neuro Rehab Center pursuant to Code Section 551.0711A and 2. We are all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Item A, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel concerning management and purchase issues related to the International Bridge System. Do I hear a motion to acknowledge the report of counsel and our county administrator?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Wood. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item B, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel concerning claim of Olga Ortega for discussion of claim. Do I hear a motion to acknowledge the report of counsel?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner.
And proceed as discussed.
And proceed as discussed
In executive session, moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Wood. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item C, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel on potential litigation concerning the Commissioners Court Civil Legal Division. Do I hear a motion to acknowledge report of counsel and authorize our Civil Division to represent Cameron County related to any issues related to have Cameron County Commissioners the ability to choose their own legal counsel?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Wood. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item D, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel concerning settlement with Mutual of Omaha. Do I hear a motion to acknowledge report of counsel and instruct them to proceed along the terms and conditions as discussed in executive session?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Tamayo, second by Commissioner Wood. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item E, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel concerning the review of appeal and consideration of payment of medical claims. Do I hear a motion to authorize the payment of $500 on a medical claim and approve coverage of the dependents to one of our employees effective today?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner Tamayo. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item F, confer with Commissioners Court Legal Counsel concerning Jose Luis Loredo Jr. versus Cameron County. Do I hear a motion to deny the claim?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner Tamayo. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries.
Judge, did
Yes,
we,
ma'am.
did we,
Yes, sir. Sorry.
did we approve the consent items?
Yes.
Not the ones that
With the
we
exception of the ones we pulled out.
We approved them all?
pulled out.
Yes.
Okay.
Why, do you want to pull one out?
No, I just thought that we had not
Okay.
voted on it.
Okay, let's take the consent items out. We did vote, right? Yeah.
On the ones
Can we, some of the items that were taken out, item number 5.
Judge, on item number 5, the only issue is this is a text dot amendment that I think is agreeable to our administrator, but they obviously left some wording out in Article 9, item C, to be amended. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It's got obvious wording out. I don't know if the administrator was able to talk to them or not, but you can approve it subject to that wording being added. If you
Okay,
look-
let me hear a motion
What's the
to,
wording?
Yeah, what?
Why don't we just bring this back next week?
do we have to do it today, Pete? Okay, why don't we table it? Let me have a motion to table it, get with Richard and clarify the wording. Moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Tamayo. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 6, consideration approval of renewal of concession agreement between Cameron County and Northware Ventures, Inc., DBA Brady's Duty Free for the use of property at the Free Trade Bridge. Original contract approved on May 14th, 2002, and amended July 12, 2005. Commissioner Gatsa, that was yours.
The option to agree ends when? I mean, the option to renew, I'm sorry. Would it be May 14th of 2007?
Right.
Is that, I didn't see it anywhere, but I just kind of assumed that.
Says, the concession agreement shall be for a term of 5 years, beginning the first day of May 2002 and terminating on the 30th day of April 2007. At the end of the original 5-year term, concessionaire shall have the option to renew this agreement for a second 5-year term, provided that the concessionaire shall notify the county of its intention to invoke this option by providing written notice to the county within 90 days prior to the expiration of the original 5-year term.
Pete, I think if you go to page 3 of the contract, the very first complete paragraph, I believe it says, it identifies the term, the 5-year term, May 2007 through April 2012. Is that the paragraph that we're talking about?
Right.
Okay. So I think it's going from May 1st.
Is that first?
Oh, the term?
Yeah, go to page 2 of the contract.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's where it identifies the May. And then whomever's around on May the 12th, I mean, May 2012, will have that opportunity as well.
Right.
Any other questions?
None of the terms will be changing. There was no negotiating.
I don't
done
believe
for
that
the-
we do. The rent that they are paying the county right now is $1,750 or 4 1/4 of sales. And I believe this last fiscal year, we received a check for about $65,000 because the sales were, the 4 1/4 was higher than the $1,750. The second 5-year term, the base rent goes from $1,750 to $3,000. And again, if the 4 1/4 is higher, then we'll get a check for that difference.
For the difference.
So we are getting an additional $15,000 a year on the base rent.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
So the base escalates
Yes.
as renewals come in.
Okay.
Well, my only question is, the way this contract is written, it's up to the concessionaire to renew. It's his option, and the terms are pretty clear.
Yes.
I read this thing, I didn't read anywhere where it said the county had any negotiating, whatever that's called. Latitude. In terms, well, we say, no, we want more. That's not the way this agreement was written. It's pretty much at the will of the concessionaire. If you look at that paragraph that I pointed out, it says exercises his option to renew. So really, it's his option, it's not
Right.
our option.
Yes.
It's his option. So we're pretty much locked into this, the way I read it. Okay.
There's no 30-day out on this one?
I didn't see it.
Well, that being the case, why do we have to renew?
Well, because he's making an official request to renew. But he could say, I want to walk out, and he can walk out, and we can't hold him based on this agreement. Is that how you read that?
Well, there's
That's correct.
There's a 90-day notice, though, on page 12. Does that mean anything? It says there, if either party suffers economic disadvantage.
Yeah, but it's by the mutual agreement of parties. That's why I read it. All right, well, it is what it is. Where's Mark? Right, Mark? It is what it is. All right. Hear a motion to approve the renewal of the concession agreement.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner Gatsa. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, item carries. Item 11, consideration approval of time extension from April 27th, 2007 to March 1st, 2010. My only question was, why are we giving a 3-year extension to provide for sewer facilities for 3 lots? I mean, for 3 additional septic tanks. That's my question. Is there Ernesto? Oh, there you are.
Good evening, Judge and Commissioners. Normally, the developer will request, if we're approaching a due date, which 60 days before the due date, developer will submit a request for extension of time if he's not complete with the installation of the facility, in this case, 3 septic tanks. Normally, there'll be 2 years, depending on how fast they're moving their development. Some will ask for 2 years, some 3 years, but it's pretty much at the discretion of the court.
Well,
the court says 1 year, but
Yeah, the one right before that is only a couple of months.
yes, because that developer is about to complete his construction.
Right.
And he'll be finished within the next 30 days. So he asked for 90 days to be covered.
But he's asking for a 3-year extension to provide septic tanks for 3 lots.
That's correct.
Okay, I guess my question is, why does he need 3 years to provide the septic tank system to 3 lots? That's my only question.
Yeah, and I
It's
don't
gonna-
understand his logic, but as long as he has a letter of credit there for installation, and he may not be selling his lots, they may just be sitting there. So, see, it's his option, but we
Judge,
can...
That's in
I
your...
can tell you, and I've had some instances like this with people in my office, and we've discussed this. Some of them, and I don't know this particular case, but I've had some where, and I wondered about that in some of what came before us. Some of it, and I don't know if this is the case in this particular one, but a family is going to build for a son that's going to get married in 2 years or whatever, and that lot is for that one person. And that's why, the waiting period, but the letter of credit is what's
And that
important.
guarantees that it will be done.
It's guaranteed.
Yes,
But a
but-
lot of it has to do with family that's going to
correct,
come and
yeah.
build in that subdivision.
Very
No,
similar.
that if the developer sells it, like Pete was just kind of giving a suggestion, that, yeah, if he sells the lots in the next 90 days or in the next few months, then this letter of credit this extension really is null and void.
Okay, are you notified when the letter of credit expires?
Yes.
Okay.
60 days normally.
And who notifies you? The bank?
The bank.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do I hear a motion
I think
to...
after the last few years, we've kind of kept current on all of those.
Well, that's what my concern is, that we don't lose something in the cracks somewhere.
Well,
All right.
and the other thing, I have to compliment the engineering department because they're really tracking all these subdivisions much better than when I first came on board. So I commend you for that. I make a motion for approval.
Moved by Commissioner Tamayo, second by Commissioner Wood. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 20, I pulled that one out. Consideration approval of specifications for pickups, vans, and other stuff. That's what my question is. My question was, on Category 8, which was a Cameron County Parks Department,
Category 8. Number 20.
Number 20, but, I don't know if that's the one that I was asking about. Hold on.
So take your,
Regarding a 4x4.
that's for the beach.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. It wasn't the park system. It was the constable from Precinct 6. The other constables are asking for regular 2x2s, and this constable's asking for a 4x4, full, crew cab, 4x4, four-wheel drive, blah, blah, blah. Any reason for that? Anybody know? Of course.
To travel in the dirt roads? When it rains?
What was the justification?
Lee, oh, is that you?
I think, Precinct 6, Mr. Robles? Is that La Feria?
Out of Los Fresnos.
Oh, Los Fresnos.
He does have one right now that he's using,
Yeah.
and he wanted to add one more instead of getting, I believe, a patrol car, to my knowledge. And he's got them all marked,
They're all-
to where they're
All right.
visible. And the crew cab is, of course, for the prisoners. They set up a portion behind the front seat.
I'm sorry?
They said what we call the cage for the prisoners on the back also. That's why it's 4-door.
All
But it's a
right.
half-ton though.
Okay, so you're saying it's okay?
Yes, sir.
All right.
That's what they have right now.
All right. How much, oh, never mind. All right, okay. Do I hear a motion to approve item 20?
So
Are we having Lee approve
No, but he's the one that came forward and spoke up on their behalf, so. I think,
That's what they requested of Lee, right? That's what they requested.
Well, in the future, Lee, I would tell them to come themselves and give a justification.
yeah, I mean, you got some council asking for 2x2s, single cab, then you got other ones asking 4x4s. I mean, there's a couple of $1,000 difference in those vehicles.
Yeah, the actual, these are the more specific specifications. When the equipment list is originally presented, it usually has a description as more general as far as 4x4 extended cab or 4x4 four-door. So when he requested, it was a 4x4 four-door pickup truck, which had been approved by the court, but then Mr. Forbes, to get the more detail, brings the total specs before they go out for bids. But the court had already considered the four-door, 4x4 pickup for the constable and had been approved.
All right, hear a motion by Commissioner Gatsa. Do I have a second?
Second.
By Commissioner Wood, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Budget amendment? Nothing on item 25? Pass. Approval of minutes, February 13th, 2007, February 13th special meeting. Y'all looked at them?
My computer is finally working. Motion for approval.
Motion for approval by Commissioner Tamayo. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wood. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Mark, the last time we spoke about, back on one of these meetings, you indicated that the audit report would be ready March the 1st. Where are we with the audit report?
Well, what was going to be available were the department reports. They're ready and we're sending them out this week. The opinion is, we're expecting it by Friday.
Okay.
We always have the audit report complete by March 31st.
Okay. Has the audit firm met with the audit committee in terms of explaining their findings, whatever?
We had that discussion today in Mr. Barrera's office at Long Chilton, and he is not familiar with who the court's audit committee is at this stage.
Well, has it changed since last year? I mean, I haven't changed anybody that's on it.
Well, you're correct, and I had requested, first of all, initially I had requested to be part of the audit committee, or at least be advised when the audit committee met, because last year when the audit committee met, I was not advised or included in.
Who's on the audit committee now, as far as you know?
Well, I remember the sheriff was a participant. I was on it. I'm not really quite sure of the other members. I didn't attend the meetings. And
Javier, do you know?
I'm on the audit committee. Yvette Salinas, the health department director, was on the committee, and were you on the committee? No.
And to my knowledge, the audit committee has not met this year.
So we have an item on the agenda, and
Well-
just do an appointment of an audit committee?
Well, I mean,
I believe,
I tell you,
I
look,
believe there was somebody else.
the reason for well, Mark needs to be on the audit committee as well, but the reason for that audit committee is supposed to serve as a liaison between the audit firm and the Commissioner's Court. And basically, the audit firm is supposed to discuss with the audit committee before the audit begins, during the audit process, and then having an exit conference with the audit committee to discuss their findings and recommendations, et cetera, before it gets presented. So I would recommend that, who's the chair?
I don't know who the chair is.
Javier, who's the-
Actually, I think the DA, David Gonzalez, is the chair.
David, are you the chair?
Or has been in the past. I think he resigned the position when he left office.
I'm sorry? He was the chair. Well, somebody want to call him and find out what he's done?
Yeah. But, there seemed to be some ambiguity with the outside auditor on whether the audit committee was reauthorized by the Commissioner's Court, or that new members were to be appointed, or that someone who was the chair was going to call a meeting.
Okay, well, let me ask you, has the audit committee
I've not met with the audit.
ever met in
This
regards to this fiscal year's audit, the 2005, 2006 audit?
According to the outside
Have you?
auditor, no, they have not.
They have not. Okay, well, they need to.
Yes.
And so, if there's no objection from the court, does any member of the court want to sit on the audit committee? David?
Well, what we can do is place an item on next week's agenda for the court to redesignate their audit committee, set the chair, and then they can meet.
You want to do that?
To redesignate the audit.
Oh, I thought you were going to volunteer to sit on the audit committee.
But I don't,
Redesignate the audit.
Okay, if nobody
This is
volunteers,
an
I
issue that
don't
we
have any
need to
problem
have
sitting on the
agenda
audit
item
committee.
Hey, you're the
discuss.
one with the expertise in that area.
Okay, that's not, I just want to give you all the opportunity if you wanted to do that. All right. Okay, let's do that. Put on the agenda for the next Tuesday, Pete, to,
Reauthorize.
to redesignate an audit committee. If y'all have any names of the folks that you want to put on there, but I would recommend that Mark is on there, Javier is on there, maybe somebody from the DA's office, the health department, and maybe myself, having a 5-member audit committee, if that's all right. Okay, so can you bring that back next Tuesday so we can do that?
Right.
Okay?
We'll make sure that
And you
happens.
know what, we may want to have Mr. Barrera call me next week so we can get together and just kind of go over whatever preliminary things he's
Yes,
got.
we had a just general discussion about the audit committee this morning, and we were a little concerned that they hadn't met, and two, that the commissioners hadn't reaffirmed who was on the audit committee because some faces had changed.
Okay, well, let's do this. Next Tuesday, we'll put an item on the agenda to designate the audit committee, and then set up a meeting with Mr. Barrera subsequent to Tuesday, maybe on, well, look at the calendar.
We'd like to set it up for early April so that he can present his findings in the
But
audit.
don't you have to get that to GFOA?
Well, we do send it out on, before March 31st.
Okay, well, Mark, the problem that I have is sending out the audit report to GFOA before the court has approved the audit. I got a problem with that. I mean, you send it out to everybody, and then we haven't even approved it yet. It's an unapproved audit report that's being sent out.
But it's usually approved shortly thereafter. And it was standard procedure for the last 14 years to send it out before March 31st.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, next year, we need to meet
I agree with
before,
you.
okay? So
Now,
I don't
that
want the audits getting out until this court has an opportunity to look at them.
Well, and I agree with you, and that's why I supported the concept of an audit committee so
All right.
that we have department buy-in on our internal control and audit procedures.
Okay, well, let's do that. Pete, put an item on the agenda for Tuesday to designate the audit committee, and then meet with Carlos Barrera and see if we can meet after that, maybe Wednesday or Thursday, with the audit committee members that we designate on Tuesday.
Right.
All right? Thank you, Mark. Approval of county claims?
There's one additional claim. It has to do with the payment to Renfro Fox Law Firm LLP out of Fund 800. That's out of the Gateway Fund. It's for land acquisitions for the amount of $462,511.81.
Do I have an approval, do I have a motion to approve the claims?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Tamayo, second by Commissioner Gatsa. Please note my abstention on, I don't know what the warrant number is, Harlingen Water Works. I think you should have my affidavit. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Please note my abstention on that one item.
And I had one page missing on my printout, Mark,
We'll
on the
send you a
daily
new
check
one.
register. Page 30 and 31. No, they weren't. I checked Edna's, but
All right.
Tell you what I'll do. Small one.
only if you take mine. That way you'll know.
If you can hold it the whole.
That's okay. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Item 29, consideration designation of funding source for the upcoming special constitutional amendment election on May the 12th, 2007. Pete, did you get with Roger on the funding source? Roger? I think you and I spoke this morning. You said you'd identified a funding source? It's coming from your budget. Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve the funding source coming out of the elections office budget?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Tamayo. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 30, consideration authorization to negotiate with Texas Municipal League for an ASO services agreement and stop-loss insurance. Do I hear a motion to authorize, who's gonna
This is,
do the negotiating? You?
yeah.
Richard?
Well, we've got two items. We've got,
Right.
one item with the Texas Municipal League, and then the other option is with the Texas Association of
Correct.
Counties.
Right, so who's gonna be the
Who's gonna be
negotiator?
negotiating?
I can do it along with our insurance consultant that we have on board.
Okay, let me hear a motion on item 30 first, and authorize Richard Burse, along with our insurance consultant, to negotiate with the TML for ASL services.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Tamayo. Do I have a second by Commissioner Gatsa? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 31, consideration authorization to negotiate with Texas Association of Counties for an ASL services agreement and stop-loss insurance. Do I hear a motion to authorize Richard Burse and our insurance consultant to negotiate?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Tamayo. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 32, discussion and possible action regarding policies and procedures for use of county facilities. I have provided you all with a draft. Please take the opportunity to look at it. Give it a couple of weeks if you want. If you have any comments, revisions, deletions, just let me know so we can adjust it, okay?
I have some questions, but I'll talk to you.
Okay. Do I have a motion just to acknowledge that you've gotten it?
So moved.
Okay, moved by
Second.
Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Wood. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 34, consideration and possible adoption of order number 2007-00-2005 for adopting contracting rules for persons indebted to the county. I think this is the second time it's been on. Do I hear a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Tamayo. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Discussion and possible action of temporary contract negotiations regarding the performance of autopsies for Cameron County.
Judge and
Commissioner Gatsa?
Commissioners, we had a meeting last week as instructed by this court. Mr. Villalobos was present, Pete Sepulveda was present, David Gonzalez was present, and other individuals that were interested in this particular item were present. We temporarily discussed three different potential solutions that we need to be looking at, one which is a very short-term solution, basically a stopgap process between now and when we can go to the intermediate solution, which would hopefully be having a medical examiner work either for the county or for Valley Baptist. We have a subsequent meeting set for tomorrow at noon with Valley Baptist Medical Center, at which time we'll know more definitely what route we need to go. I did read a newspaper article this morning that I wish that Mr. Villalobos would elaborate on in regard to the Nueces County offer that exists out there. Was there something?
I didn't see the article, but...
No, there was an email. Or was it an email?
It was an email.
But not the news media.
Okay.
It wasn't a news media, okay.
Okay.
I read it everywhere, so I thought it was a newspaper.
No, the latest from...
Yeah, that was your email, that's right.
From Nueces County was that they called and said that they could increase the number from 100 to over 100. They also indicated that instead of a truck, they gave us some prices on a truck. They said it would probably run about $70 a day, that they would recommend a port container, a refrigerated port container that I guess come on cargo ships, and that they could place one next to the building and make it look like it's part of the building, because I had told them we had concerns about putting them in a truck. They indicated that that might work better, and I also indicated we had concerns over the time frame, and they indicated to me that they could, do a 24 to, I think it was 48-hour turnaround on the autopsies. So they're being extremely accommodating to our county, and they're kind of putting a lot of thought and effort into it. I've also, yesterday and today, had contact with Hidalgo County, specifically their district attorney, because they're taking our pathologist, and their pathologist now is trying to apply with us. So I called to see, was there a problem with their pathologist? And he indicated that they did not, that he had done some good work for them. However, they wanted a board-certified pathologist, which is Dr. Farley. So that also becomes now an option for our county, because Dr. Salinas from Hidalgo County will obviously be looking for work, and he will be available in a pinch, I'm sure, or if we want to do it long-term with him. He has sent us a CV, which I'll forward to you. We just got it today. I'll forward to each one of you so you could review it. DA Guerra from Hidalgo County has expressed interest in sitting down and discussing a regional ME's office with Hidalgo, with STAR, with our county, and with Willacy. He's also indicated that he would like for Dr. Farley to continue to help us, even right now, that he would not have any problems with that or give her any grief about that, so he's on board with that. He would like to meet further on that. I told him that we would try to schedule something next week based on everybody's scheduling. So those were the two latest developments that we have had regarding this subject.
But there appears to be some good possibilities that exist in developing. Ideally, I think we've discussed the issue as a group, and ideally, it would be good if we could develop the medical examiner's office and go that route for the long run. It would be probably the most cost-effective method to do the operation. Unfortunately, board-certified forensic pathologists are not everywhere. They're difficult to find.
Right.
But we've had some indications that there might be one that could be interested in coming down and working down here. The possibilities of that occurring will be discussed tomorrow with Valley Baptist and with the committee again. So we will keep the item on the agenda, Mr. Sepulveda, for next week. That way, after the meeting tomorrow, we'll have more information. If something develops at the meeting that I need to keep you abreast of, Judge, I will make the phone call for you.
And then I'll call Judge Neal tomorrow.
He's been,
I know Judge
he's
Lloyd.
been real helpful, and they really are concerned about it, so I was just wanted to make sure that they...
Yeah, well, I appreciate, your help with it, and Commissioner Gatsa also for spearheading this, and I think y'all are on the right track, and I want to thank you for doing that, Commissioner and Mr. Villalobos.
You're welcome.
Do I hear a motion to... I'm sorry.
I called Judge Neal today.
Okay, thank you.
And expressed our appreciation for his cooperation, his willingness to help us out, and of course now I'll call Hidalgo County because they're being extremely helpful.
Right, I appreciate
Make a
that.
motion.
It's a motion by Commissioner Tamayo. Do I have a second?
Second.
What was the motion?
Well, really, the motion is going to be to table.
Knowledge report or?
For acknowledged report, I think it's a table, because this is a temporary contract. So, do I hear a motion to table this item? By Commissioner Tamayo, seconded by Commissioner Gatsa. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 36, consideration authorization to add one van replacement to the vehicle request list for Cameron County District Clerk's Office.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Wood. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 37, consideration possible approval of the La Paloma and Rio Hondo Park schematic design and budget. Do I hear a motion to approve? You all have had the opportunity to look at it?
So moved.
Anybody have any
The only-
questions on it?
The only issue I have with
I've
it is,
already asked.
Hold on.
I've already asked my questions to them before, so I'm ready to go.
the only issue I have with it is the orientation of the baseball fields based on afternoon sun coming into the pitchers and outfielders' eyes. Are y'all looking at that to be sure that they're oriented properly, just so that it can minimize that problem that we have?
Yes, we have, and we're thinking about that just the other day, is that, no matter how you orientate that ball field, you're gonna get sun in somebody's eyes, whether it's third base, first base, or,
Or
pitcher.
catcher?
Yeah.
Or the catcher.
Well,
It's
yeah.
like if you go to Morningside, you've got 4 baseball fields, and they're all in a circular motion, so one of those
Well,
or two of those...
just because they're that way in Morningside doesn't mean we need to build them that way here. We need to be looking at what's going to be the safest for the people out there playing on it.
No, we have, and, the only way we'd be able to do that is to skew it a little bit.
And maybe that's what we need to do. That's what I'm asking. Have we looked at that, or are we going to look at that and consider it?
I don't know, do y'all want to see
What is it we're looking at?
the colored
Oh, sure.
scheme of...
Let me ask you, Javier, one thing. According to the agenda item, we're approving the schematic design and budget, but I don't see a budget attached to this.
Okay, we could,
I can
You
go
didn't give us
over
a budget?
each one of the parks, we can go over the budgets on each one of the parks.
Yeah, but you didn't have an attachment to give us?
no, I didn't. When I had submitted that, we had revised the budget when we met with the advisory groups, and I didn't have those budgets prepared because David was meeting still with his subconsultant, and trying to get those prices, pretty much narrowed.
Do you have a handout now that I could look at? I mean, I like a handout of some sort to look at.
But you're staying within the budget that we had voted on, right?
We have, on some of them, go ahead.
I can get you a budget, Commissioner, just to go over each one of the parks. The Rio Hondo, these are just budgets. Rio Hondo is going to be $2.5 million. La Paloma Park is a 20-acre park, that's going to be $2.2 million. Cameron Park Improvement is going to be $800,000. So we have a total of approximately $5.5 million for those three parks. And what we talked about previously with the county is that maybe some of the improvements like the parking lots, the jogging trails would be done by the Public Works. So if they do that work, then we're down to $4.5 million.
So one thing I do want to thank you for, I know you've taken a lot of time talking to for one of the advisory committees, but also the coaches that are going to be involved. So I think that was excellent, because you're listening to the guys that are going to be using it.
Yes,
So
we've met several times with the committees.
Are we going to see something?
I don't know if is that 4 minutes or? We've got handouts if you want to go.
We have handouts, you know.
They're in the packet.
I think they gave it to you.
They're not in color, but.
You want to? I guess we can go over, the first park is the Rio Hondo Park. That's a 13.5-acre park. The access to that park would be off of Reynolds Road. As you enter the park, we'll have a parking lot that's designed for 95 parking spaces. And then as you make your way into the park, we'll have 2 small pavilions and 2 medium-sized pavilions, along with 2 play structures. Over to the left side of that, we'll have 3 lighted baseball fields. And then in between the baseball field and the play structures, we'll have restrooms and concession stands. Over on the right side of the park, we'll have 2 soccer fields. The one at the top will be lighted. The one on the bottom would be graded, seeded, and irrigated. And then in between those 2 soccer fields, we'll have 2 color-coded basketball courts. Along with the other improvements, we'll include jogging trails, landscaping, irrigation, and picnic tables and drinking fountains. The next park is La Paloma Park. That is a 20-acre park. The entrance to that park will be off of J. Leal Road. The parking lot has been designed for 114 parking spaces. As you make your way into the park, we'll have 2 color-coded basketball courts, along with 2 play structures. At the bottom left-hand side of the park, we'll have 2 soccer fields. The one that's nearest the parking lot, that would be lighted. The other one would be graded, irrigated. And then over to the right side of that park, we'll have 3 baseball fields. The 2 to the far right will be lighted, and then in between the baseball fields and the play structures, we'll have a concession stand and restrooms. We'll also include jogging trails, landscaping, irrigation, picnic tables, and drinking fountains on that park.
You have the walking trail in both.
Right, that's correct. The next park is Cameron Park Improvements. And on this park, we're going to be extending.
Did you give us that handout?
No.
I don't have a handout.
Not for Cameron Park. No,
The next park is Cameron Park Improvements, and at this park, we're going to be expanding the parking lot to 31 spaces. Other improvements will include additional play structures, 2 picnic pavilions, 1 color-coded basketball court. There's an existing covered basketball court right now, and we're going to enclose that with concrete block. The existing soccer field that's there right now is going to be regraded, fenced, and seeded. Other components are going to be jogging trails, picnic tables, and landscaping and irrigation. And that project, our budget on that one's $800,000. So those are the 3 parks that we are currently working on right now. We're hoping to finish these next month in April, and then receive bids the first part of May.
First part of May for the bids?
Yes. All three of them will go out at the same time. We'll have one bid package for all three.
How much of the money are we encumbering with these three parks, Javier?
Sorry, what was the question?
How much money of the bond issue are we encumbering with these three parks?
David had
No, what you had, your figures.
we had, our budgets that we had, for example, Rio Hondo, we had budgeted 1.6 million. La Paloma, we also budgeted 1.6. There's a difference of $20,000 on La Paloma. And then, of course, Cameron Park, I think Cameron Park was $524,145.
Okay, so, we haven't even started yet, and you're already taking more than what we had initially planned to spend. That means that at the tail end, somebody's gonna end up with no money for a park. And if history repeats itself, it could be Laureles. And I think it would be very wrong for any of us to support coming up with parks that are well over our initial budget, where we're gonna distribute this money equally amongst all the parks. And I know that, if I go to the community that I represent, they want a swimming pool, they want soccer fields, football fields, and everybody wants everything. But I think we need to work within the budget that we had originally looked at working with, not before we start going way over budget already.
Now, Javier, let me understand, the total that you're giving us, though, is not subtracting what we will be able to do in-house? I wasn't clear on that.
Yes. The total that we have right now for the three parks is $5.5 million. If the county goes in and does the parking lots and the asphalt jogging trails, then that number would come down by $4.5 million.
That still costs money,
Now, and the number that I'm using right now for the parking lot and the jogging trails, those are contractor numbers, and I'm sure the county will be able to do that a little cheaper, the parking lots and the jogging trails.
I was trying to see how much we would be saving here. Well, we could go out for bids and see what we get.
I think the question is that, I share Commissioner Gatz's concerns, I think as we all do, but when you're looking at contractor rates, how much higher is that from our in-house rates? I mean, is it 15% higher or 20% higher? And whatever percentage that is, let's assume it's 20%.
At least 20%.
Okay, let's assume it's 20%. The 20% savings, is that going to bring these projects under budget? I mean, are we that little over budget where we can come back and say, well, if we do the parking lot and all this in-house, we're going to be able to come in under budget?
I think with those, with the county going in there and doing the parking lots and the jogging trails, we're certainly going to save some money there and bring those projects back in the budget. The other thing we talked about too, and I was talking to Javier about it, is a majority of the cost on these parks are going to be the sports lighting. And if the county can go in and buy the light poles through the buy board, then the county's going to save a lot of money. Then the contractor can install the light poles and rig them up.
David, I think that, I don't know what y'all think, but I don't know how we can make a decision without having real numbers. I'm not saying your numbers aren't real. What I'm saying is that you've just given us an alternative to say, well, go to the buy board and buy this, and the in-house does this. It's very difficult to try to make a decision if we're not dealing with accurate numbers. And maybe you're retailing everything out there, okay? And maybe that's the worst case scenario. But we don't know that until you sit down with our folks and say, how much is it going to cost to do this parking lot? And is it going to be to the same standards? I mean, is it going to be a concrete parking lot or asphalt? Is it going to be two course or is it going to be hot mix? these light posts you want to go out from the buy board, how much is that going to save? I didn't see the budget, so I don't know if y'all talked about it while I was out. But I mean, I think we don't want to end up shortchanging any park at this point. And I think that it either be Laureles Park, or it's going to be Isla Blanca Park, and be some park that's going to be left out unless we sharpen our pencils and we figure out exactly where we are with this. Maybe within 5% or 10%.
Yeah, but, the numbers that you gave me for the parks is 5.5 million. The numbers that we originally approved for the parks, for those three in expenditures, was 3.7, okay? We're already like 1.8 million over before we even start. When you go design a park, you should design the park according to the budget that we have. Because it's like building a house. You can build a house to what you want, or you can build a house to what you can afford. What we could afford is what we had segregated as amounts per project. $524,000 at the Cameron County project, $1.6 million for each of the others. Design a park to that amount of money.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying, Commissioner, but I think that it's good that we have this plan, because we have something to go by, and then it's a matter of, okay, what needs to be eliminated, and then for the future, we already have something that can be added later on. I just feel that we need to go ahead and come up with numbers and decide what's going to be done as soon as possible, because prices keep going up. So we need to, number one, if the court it's their desire, that you come back and show us some numbers. I'm glad that you designed it in this manner.
What we can do also is come back with some numbers and possibly some alternates too, and wait to see what those numbers come in at. Once we bid the project out, we'll have those numbers back from a contractor, and we can say, you know what, we just want to take alternate number 1, alternate number 2, or alternate number 3.
So you're going to have to design numerous plans for this park?
No.
I mean, because let's say you've got this one in Rio Hondo.
Right.
And, okay, great plan. Well, we're going to have to eliminate something. So let's assume that we're going to eliminate 2 of the fields, okay? That means you're going to have to reconfigure this whole thing, or else it's going to look kind of oddball, or you're going to just have vacant land out there.
We would leave that alone, because that would be a master plan for that park. If you came back later and had the monies to complete that park, well, it's already master planned.
But where is the majority of the cost going into these parks?
A majority of the costs are going to be the parking lots,
okay,
and the sports lighting.
Okay. Because the rest is just grass. 2.6 billion? The rest is just grass, right?
Grass and, play structures, it adds up. These are, Rio Hondo Park's a 13.5-acre park. La Paloma is a 20-acre park. When we bid Chachalaca Park here in Brownsville, what was it, 4 years ago, that was 17 acres, and they had a budget of $900,000. All we got for that park was just a jogging trail, restrooms, and a play structure. But these are large parks. Rio Hondo, like I said, was 13.5. And
well, but the court knew that. When the court decided to do these parks, they knew exactly what the parameters were, they knew what the acreage was, and we knew how much money was being allocated. So let me ask the question, did you all know what the number was budgeted for each park? Did you know, as the architect?
I knew what the numbers were, but after we started meeting with the committees, they wanted this and they wanted... And so we started to incorporate all that into the parks.
Okay, but I think that may be the problem, okay? Because if we know we've got $1.6 million for this park, and we're already at $2.5 million for this park, why would you want to continue with all those efforts to do that, knowing that we don't have $2.5 million for this park? So we only have $1.6 million. So, I know that we want to have everything, we want to do this and that, but, the committee members are nice, and, but were they educated, say, hey, we've only got $1.6 million, so do it within these parameters, this is what's going to cost you. I don't want to put, the committee members, this is not their fault. They're saying this is what we want, but were you able to equate the dollars that we have available with what they were wanting to have in these parks?
I still say that it's a good idea for us to have this, Judge, because of the fact this is a master plan. And I think that now what needs to be done, they were made aware of the fact that everything might not happen.
Okay, so...
But I think that this is a master plan. We need to find out how much of this we can do, but I would like to see the bids go out and see what we get back, and then decide, okay, what is going to have to be eliminated. And again, getting back to some figures as to how much are we saving with Public Works,
But we're already designing a $2.5 million park.
And that's what you're,
what
and that's what you're gonna bid out, for that park. So your bids are not gonna commit at $1.6 million if you're creating a design that's $2.5 million, as an example.
That's why I think you probably need to come back with some alternates.
Yeah, that would be the only thing, is to come back, we've got it all master planned, we've got the two parks master plan, is come back with some alternates, and maybe bid them out as alternates.
Are any of the parks of these three within the amount of money that was budgeted?
No.
Nope. I think the one on Cameron Park, that was $524,000, and you just told us it was $800.
Right, what I was gonna mention, though, is there's some stuff in there that we can save, like, for example, the play structure. Play structure's there, we're gonna replace that. Irrigation, most of that area is irrigated, the soccer field and so on. The irrigation area is gonna be limited, maybe smaller. I think there was something else I had made a note of, where we can cut back. Cameron Park would fit within, or fall within budget. The other thing that we were talking about, David and I, was because the figures that we had when we went out to the COs was, the numbers were probably a year and a half old. When we originally started our master plan, and we got the numbers, and those are the numbers we were using.
The numbers that you used when?
When we prepared the master plan.
And how long ago was that?
It was about a year ago.
Okay, so price has gone up at least
a little over
5 to 15%.
Yeah, 15, at least 15.
So the numbers that you're using now, are those today's dollars?
Yes, the ones that the 2.5 and the 5.5 total,
Those are today's dollars?
those are today's numbers.
Well, I agree with Commissioner Wood. I think that you need to come back and give us, three options, but whatever they are, you've got to keep them within the 1 point, because I tell you what, I don't want to go in a situation where we're having to issue more COs to cover these things, okay? Because we know ahead of time, we know right now that we're over budget. Now's a good time to scale it down and stay within the budget that we have.
Stay within the budget. We promised all the different areas what we were going to do. Stay within those numbers. If we can do more, we can do more with those numbers. But we've got to stay within those parameters. We talked about it, and I don't have,
And I don't have a problem with that, but I'll go back to my original statement that I'm glad that we do have a master plan, because we can always go back later and add some of this. I think I don't have a problem with that.
I can come back with some alternates.
Come back with some numbers.
And prices.
I'll talk some prices. I'll talk to Javier and see what they can buy as far as through the buy board, and put those figures in.
How much savings
right.
we'll get, and then we'll decide what has to be eliminated.
If we can commit Public Works to do the parking lot and the jogging trail, that's going to save a lot of money too.
I think I agree with the rest of the court. Look at the numbers that we came up originally for each park, and that's what we're going to do. But what I don't want to see is a lot of delay, because prices will keep going up.
One of the things that, we talked about also is the alternate that David is talking about. There's some stuff in there that we could buy and not have the contractor buy, and of course add his overhead. The play structures, for example, the restrooms. We can do that in-house as well, so it brings some of that cost down.
Well, those are the numbers, Javier, that we're talking about, that you need to come back to.
And when you put an agenda item on here that says schematic design and budget, for God's sake, include the budget with the thing, we shouldn't have to be here asking all these questions. Those questions should have been already answered. Include it in the packet, give us a chance to look at it. We have a concern, we can call you beforehand and move on, But include the budget, it's simple.
So can you come back next week with numbers and with...
Yeah, you'd have to put it on the agenda for Wednesday, tomorrow. Yeah, we
Can you
can,
do it in a week? I mean, can you do
Can
it?
you come up with the numbers?
I mean, if
in a
you need more
week?
time, just tell us. If you need 2 weeks, just tell us.
let's put it on for next week. If I need more time, then we'll go to the following week, but let's do it for next week.
Okay.
Move
Okay.
the table
Okay.
for 1 week.
The main thing is to come up with real numbers and for us to move forward. That's what I'm asking.
Absolutely.
All right, I have a motion by Commissioner Wood to table for 1 week.
Second.
Do I have a second by Commissioner Gatsa? Just one more thing, Javier, I don't think that we ought to be the ones suggesting to you how to come and cut costs. I think that y'all need to sit down and pretend like it's your money and sharpen the pencil and get down, so we don't have to be doing this. Something that you all, if you know that you're over budget, you need to find the mechanism or the ways to get it down as much as possible, so we don't have to sit here and tell you what you need to be doing, all right? Motion by Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner Gatsa to table for 1 week. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Item 38, consideration.
Good night.
Thank you.
Action regarding the county's legislative agenda for the 80th Texas Legislative Session. Pete?
Judge and Commissioners, we've been following two bills. First one is House Bill 2600, introduced by Representative Richard Raymond in regards to the international bridges. On Friday, we submitted a request by Judge Cascos to amend the language in the bill to include private entities and the language to make the bill effective immediately with a two-thirds majority. Representative Lucio submitted that amendment, and it was approved by Representative Raymond. We spoke to the representative over the weekend, Representative Raymond, and it went to the committee yesterday. They had a hearing. Representatives Lucio, Guillen, Oliveira, and Escobar are co-authoring the bill. So at this point, the bill is pending at the committee. They did have the hearing, and so we'll just continue to follow it and track it. And we don't see any issues, any problems with the bill, but nonetheless, we'll continue to monitor it. Just passed out a fact sheet on House Bill 2772 and Senate Bill 1267. I think all of you are familiar with the issues that are going on here, and each one of you has made calls, sent letters to our delegation. This would place a 2-year moratorium on private equity comprehensive development agreements. It would impact 3 of the projects that the county and the Regional Mobility Authority are working on. I believe it was right before lunch, Judge Cascos, David Alex, myself, David Garcia, spoke with Representative Lucio, and we were able to get the representative to agree to submit an amendment language that would exclude the projects the Regional Mobility Authority is working on, which is the Second Causeway Project and the West Loop Project. And then we also included language on our interstate corridor project that we are working on. That has been submitted to Representative Lucio. Still trying to work with TxDOT, primarily Amadeo Sainz. I did talk to our district engineer, Mario Jorge, about it, and he didn't have any problems with the language in the amendment. Amadeo has pretty much spent the day at the Capitol in the different hearings that are taking place. Did exchange emails with him. So we'll continue to work with TxDOT and hopefully address the issues and the concern that Representative Lucio has so that the amendment can be considered. Our understanding is that the bill will go to a vote early next week. We're thinking it's probably next Tuesday morning. In all likelihood, David and I will probably be in Austin Thursday and Friday, working with TxDOT and the representatives' staff to make sure that the language that we sent is acceptable to the representative. We understand that the representative has talked to other members on the floor and it appears that they might be receptive to the amendment and the language in the amendment. So we'll keep the court abreast of any development, but we do appreciate the effort by each member of the court, making your phone calls, sending letters, because I think we've got the attention that we needed, and hopefully we can get the amendment in that bill. I understand that the amendment probably will not help TxDOT statewide, but I think it will allow us and the RMA to continue working on the projects that we started working a couple of years ago.
These bills, if they pass, would set us back anywhere from 5 years to a decade in terms of this interstate corridor. So it's imperative. I mean, I want to echo Pete's comments, thanking you all commissioners for calling the folks that you know, and I would encourage you to call them again in a nice way and talk to them and just tell them, you know, that we appreciate what all that they do. Our message to state reps today was, you represent us here, and you know, we're doing things right here, and it's not our problem, so to speak, what's going on in the rest of the state. I mean, we've got a good RMA, we've got some good things going on here, but I encourage you, if you know anybody else up and down, you know, I want to make a few more phone calls between now and 2 to some of the folks that I know, and just let them know where we stand. But if these bills pass, we are going to be in a world of hurt. I think a lot of these projects that this court before me and subsequent have worked very, very hard, you know, to get some of these projects off the ground, and we're so close. Something like this would be devastating to South Texas, and we have to convey that. If we need to get resolutions, Pete, from our cities, from our chambers of commerce, we need to start working on that in the next couple of days, just to have them call, email. Let our local delegation know that they have all our support in what they're doing, and not let a few, you know, folks out there, you know, convey to them that it's not the right thing to do. So I want to thank you for your efforts, and commissioners for calling, and, you know, keep up the good work. But contact our local cities that are, especially the ones that went with us, you know, to that TxDOT meeting, Harlingen and San Benito. Call them, and call the city of Brownsville as well. Call everybody, and do whatever they can.
We'll do that. We've contacted the reps from the Corpus area, Representative Salomon Ortiz, Representative Guerrero from the Kingsville area. And we've got calls into the cities of Port Isabel, South Padre Island, and Harlingen, because, you know, that would impact, you know, them directly. So we'll continue to make the phone calls. You know, Representative Lucio's staff, you know, have really gone out of the way to keep us abreast of what's going on their end. So I think it's important to note that too.
Well, the impression I got from some of the staff members that I talked to is that they didn't realize the impact that it was going to cause us, at least in some of the offices that I called. So you're right, Judge, we need to just continue faxing and emailing and calling.
I know that they knew we had called, because from this morning to this afternoon, it was a little bit different.
Different attitude.
What they were responding to us about, you know.
Well, if I can ask you all to call them again, between now and Monday, you know, just call them up and tell them, thank them, whatever their efforts are going to be, but we really need their help. We need their help. All right. Anything else, Pete?
No.
Okay, do I hear a motion to acknowledge our state legislative agenda? Moved by Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner Tamayo. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, item carries. Anything on the federal legislative agenda?
The only thing, we continue to wait on a date from FEMA on a meeting that they had wanted to have with Cameron County, Hidalgo County, Williston County, in Denton. So as soon as we have a date on that, we'll send the court a notice. But, you know, we want to do that before the end of the month, so.
All right. Do I have a motion to acknowledge item 39, the county's federal legislative agenda, moved by Commissioner Gatsa, second by Commissioner Tamayo. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, item carries. Just a quick note, if some of you all have been having problems with our getting through to our offices, we continue to have problems with our phone system. I know that I tried to call the auditor's office last week, and I had the same experience that you did. It kicked into their voicemail. I know that if you call our office number, it'll kick into the voicemail, so we're trying to get with AT&T to come and and rectify the situation. I apologize for any inconvenience anybody may have had. Just keep trying. Hopefully, we'll have that resolved the next couple of days, so I just want to make
I'm glad
that.
you're saying that, because I got phone calls, and I didn't know that your system wasn't working.
Well, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it'll kick into voicemail right away. Sometimes it'll ring and ring, and we don't hear it ringing. It doesn't transfer. So we're trying to work out all those little bugs. So anybody that calls you saying we're still trying to work out these phone systems. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Tamayo. Do I have a second by Commissioner Gatsa? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. God save this honorable court. We're out of here.